Good morning. I'm honored to welcome you all to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation and call this event to order. The Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Professor David J. Francis, the Minister of Information and Communications, the Minister of Marine Resources, the Minister of Trade and Industry, the Minister of Mines, the Secretary to the President, the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, the Minister of Basic Education and Senior Secondary Education, the Minister of Health and Sanitation, other distinguished guests here present, including the Honorable Chief Justice, the Director General and Ambassador at Large, directors and staff in the ministry, officials from the private sector, including Gemfair, Izelia, Myro Forestry Sierra Leone Limited, Nectar, Sierra Diamonds Limited, Sierra Rutai Limited, Salone, Capital Partners, Standard Chartered Bank, Invest Salone, Westminster Group, Sierra Leone Mining Structural Group, the Tony Blair Institute, BCCSL President, Crown Agents, G4S, RSBP GIG, Truestone, Stelly Hydropower, Wango Holdings, and of course, our friends from the media. It is my honor and privilege to welcome to this ministry the Right Honorable James Spencer Clever, Secretary of State for Foreign, Commonwealth, and Development Affairs of the United Kingdom, and his delegation, consisting also of the British High Commissioner and her team. Indeed, 62 years of enduring bilateral relations between Sierra Leone and the United Kingdom remain ever more guaranteed by the close level of cooperation between our two countries at all levels, and we are indeed proud of this strong, extraordinary, and time-tested friendship, Mr. Foreign Secretary. Today is also an occasion to reflect, but also to recalibrate this relationship signified by your presence here in Sierra Leone. Today further marks the excellent opportunity for our two sides to sign a memorandum of understanding on trade and investment cooperation between Sierra Leone and the United Kingdom. It is on that note, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, that I now wish to invite the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation to deliver his remarks and to steer the rest of this session. Honorable Minister, sir.
Your Excellency, the Foreign Secretary of the United Kingdom, the Right Honorable James Cleverly, colleague ministers of government, the Chief Justice of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Your Excellency, the High Commissioner of the United Kingdom, the Secretary to the President, Director General and Ambassador at Large of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, members of the press, good morning and welcome to the Foreign Ministry, your Foreign Ministry. Today, we are honored to host the Foreign Secretary of the United Kingdom and his delegation, but also to host the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding on Trade and Investment between the Republic of Sierra Leone and the United Kingdom. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, on behalf of His Excellency President Julius Maada Bio and the government of the Republic of Sierra Leone, let me welcome Your Excellency, the Foreign Secretary and delegation to the most beautiful country in the world, Sierra Leone. Your Excellency, let me also welcome you as a proud member of our Sierra Leonean and African family on two fronts. First, your ancestral home is Sierra Leone, and so we can safely say that you are proudly a son of the soil. So welcome. Cabo. Cheers. Second, as Foreign Secretary, you represent a glorious history of a close family relationship between Sierra Leone and the United Kingdom, spanning more than 200 years. So Sierra Leone welcomes you to this extended UK family. Sierra Leone welcomes you as a proud member of the Commonwealth. Sierra Leone welcomes you as a brother, a friend, a partner, and an ally. Because our historic, long-standing relationship, and in particular, this dependable, trusted, and special relationship is built over a long period of time that has created mutual benefits for our two countries and our two peoples. So, Your Excellency, one of our most important, UK is one of our most important, trusted, and what I would call all-weather friend. A special relationship in the sense that the United Kingdom has always stood with Sierra Leone in our most difficult periods and times when nobody believed in Sierra Leone in the 90s because of the tragedy of the Civil War. It took the intervention of the United Kingdom, committing resources, time, and energy to promote Sierra Leone. For this, during our most critical time of the challenges of nation building and state formation, you stood with us. For that, we remain always grateful on behalf of the people of Sierra Leone, on behalf of His Excellency. Let me convey our sincere thanks to you so that you can communicate that, Honorable Foreign Secretary, to headquarters. We thank you very much. We are also of the view that UK, as our most significant partner, has made significant contributions to the development of Sierra Leone. And in fact, your visits to the Boer Government Hospital yesterday and all the social media posting buoyant and happy children posing with you in selfie, that says a lot. So probably as Foreign Minister, I should do the same, follow my colleague Basic Minister to do that as well, to engage with children. But what is important here is that you went to Boer Government Hospital to demonstrate what UK government has been doing and is doing to the development of the country. So not just the health sector, but the education sector, the security sector, the justice sector, the governance sector. So I'm delighted that Sierra Leone provides the platform for you yesterday to launch the UK government new global women and child strategy. What's a better country to come and launch that global program? Because for us, Sierra Leone today is a beacon of hope and a trailblazer for the promotion of women and girls' empowerment. And President Bio himself is the one that is providing that inspiration and leadership on women and girls' empowerment in Sierra Leone. Your Excellency, when I was Foreign Minister designate on the margins of the London 2018 Commonwealth Summit in London, on that margin, Your Excellency, the President of Sierra Leone was one of the first leaders to sign up on the UK government declaration on girl-child empowerment and to leave no girl behind. So we have started this process a long time ago. Your Excellency, today Sierra Leone has legislated the Gender Equality and Women Empowerment Act 2022. This act will transform women and girls' empowerment in Sierra Leone. So, Your Excellency, Sierra Leone has a lot in our own modest way to share with the United Kingdom. But equally enough, Sierra Leone can learn a lot from the United Kingdom on how to promote women and girls' empowerment for leadership and inclusive development. No country can ever develop without focus on women and girls' empowerment. This is the view of His Excellency the President. So let me conclude by stating that we as we sign the MOU on trade and investment, I want to confirm that the government of President Julius Maada is a pro-business friendly government. We have created a conducive environment by establishing the enabling environment for the ease of doing business. For instance, the government, under the leadership of President Bill, has established the National Investment Board as a one-stop shop, where all those who want to do trade promotion and facilitation can, in one area, do commercial, financial, technical, programmatic concurrence in one place, in terms of the ease of doing business. We hope that by the next time you visit Sierra Leone, the duration for the registration of the business will be 6 hours, not 6 weeks. We're making progress. We also have a conducive environment around tax and investment incentives, which we hope that the British private sector can also look to. So that is why we are looking forward to the next UK-Africa Trade Summit, and we hope to leverage some of these opportunities. So I want to conclude by presenting to you Sierra Leone as a land of investment opportunities. Sierra Leone is the new El Dorado, the new frontier for trade and investment, because of the huge opportunities for investment in the mining sector, in the energy sector, health sector, tourism, agriculture. The opportunities are enormous, where UK businesses can come in to help us change one perspective, change the narrative away from dependence to trade and investment. Where UK companies can do two things. Firstly, do good, that means help the country. Do well, make profit. It is on that note that I want to encourage that we continue this very strong, credible, trusted partnership to continue to strengthen our bilateral and multilateral relationship, to secure not only development and progress and security and stability in Sierra Leone, but also in the United Kingdom. But also to finally commend that His Excellency the President is committed to holding a free, fair, credible, inclusive, democratic election. Bearing in mind, Sierra Leone has held 4 successful democratic elections, including 2 transfers of power that involves transfer of power from incumbent government to opposition political party, which is rare in Africa. So this will be the 5th, and His Excellency the President is committed to making sure that free, fair, credible, transparent, inclusive democratic election to further consolidate the international image and credibility of Sierra Leone as a successful case for post-war peace building and state reconstruction. On that note, I thank you. Welcome, Kushe, and Kabe.
We want to thank you very much, Honorable Minister. It is now my distinct honor to invite the Right Honorable Mr. James Cleverly to make his own remarks. Thank you.
Thank you. Your Excellency, Foreign Minister, Honourable Ministers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is a genuine honour and a pleasure to be able to join you here in Freetown on the second day of my short visit to Sierra Leone. As the Foreign Minister said yesterday, I was in Bo, the birthplace of my mother. I saw midwives. Again, my mother was a midwife, and it was great to see those passionate medical professionals saving lives and improving lives of mothers and babies. We are proud that we were able to support that work, proud that we were able to support the work of the secondary school system here in Sierra Leone, and it was lovely, genuinely lovely, to see the students at the Islamic Secondary School. They were engaging, they were thoughtful, they were polite, they were a credit to your country, until I got my phone out for the selfie, and then they were noisy, and then they were intense, just as children should be. You should be very, very proud of the people that I met, and it's a genuine pleasure to have the opportunity to do so. But today, we are here to talk predominantly about trade and business and investment. And trade drives growth, it drives prosperity, it drives development. Yesterday, my focus was very much on International Women's Day and on the UK's own International Women and Girls strategy. But of course, trade and investment and business have a role there as well, because I want to underline how much it enriches and empowers women, and therefore the whole of society, when there is a full participation of women in the economy. And their participation, their greater participation in economic activity, not just here in Sierra Leone or in the UK, but indeed around the world, is at the heart of the UK's foreign policy. Women's empowerment is the best tool when it comes to lifting millions of people out of poverty right across the globe. And this memorandum of understanding will enhance the joint trade and investment relationship between the UK and Sierra Leone. It will help us transform what the Foreign Minister has already and very accurately highlighted is a close, and intimate and very, very long-standing relationship. And this agreement, this memorandum of understanding makes that even stronger still, with trade and investment at its heart. And this year, we are also launching the UK's new Developing Countries Trading Scheme. And it will be one of the most advanced trade preference schemes in the world. And it will unlock exciting new international business opportunities in Sierra Leone and in 64 other countries around the world. So not only will Sierra Leone continue to benefit from duty-free exports to the UK, but it will also become much easier for you to sell goods to us produced using components imported from other countries. And there are great opportunities for Sierra Leonean businesses trading in textiles and in palm oil in particular. But for us to realise the full benefits of open trade between the UK and Sierra Leone, we need to make sure we fully harness the amazing entrepreneurial spirit of businesses, of exporters, and of investors. And the annual trade and investment forums between Sierra Leone and the UK that this memorandum of understanding creates will help us do exactly that. It's a great way to capitalise on business opportunities which will support job creation and economic development in both our countries. British international investment will also help to draw in capital that your businesses, your country's businesses, need to expand. And further opportunities for growth in trade between our two countries is in the next UK-Africa Investment Summit, which I can announce will be held in London on the 23rd and the 24th of April of next year. And I'm delighted that Sierra Leone will be among 24 African countries that the Prime Minister will be inviting to participate. And this summit will bring together heads of state and heads of government from 24 African countries with British and African business leaders. It will strengthen the UK-African partnerships to create jobs, to create growth, and to support British and African talent in innovative sectors such as finance and technology, whilst also promoting women entrepreneurs. I also want to highlight the value of the partnership projects here on the ground in Sierra Leone. The British High Commission's expertise, led by our fantastic High Commissioner herself, and the Investor Salone programs help attract investors and get Sierra Leonean firms export and investment ready, matching them with international buyers. And that's a key goal in making sure that they have the access to the finance that they need to help them innovate and to help them grow. Today, the President and I, who I will be meeting later on today, are delighted to jointly announce the 3 winners of Compete Salone. The 3 winning businesses have developed innovative business models that will tackle climate change and if there were a drum roll, this would be the time for the drum roll. The 3 winners are Absolute Barkey, Jolax Manufacturing, and Wangu Farms. Now let me tell you a little bit about each of them. Absolute Barkey will establish a recycling mill, creating 500 jobs by converting used waste paper into sanitary products for the first time in Sierra Leone. Jolax Manufacturing is setting up a sustainable palm oil refineries using solar energy, working with smallholder farmers, 60% of whom will be women, in rural areas, and making sure they are ready for exporting. And Wangu Farms will train 600 men and women in passion fruit production, providing alternative livelihoods to cocoa farmers close to the Gola rainforests during the hungry season. So, congratulations to all 3 of you for making it. Congratulations for the fantastic innovative business work that you are doing. But now the real work starts. But I'm sure that everyone here present will put our memorandum of understanding into practice, put it into good use, and I very much look forward to seeing it in action, and as a son of the soil, but as the British Foreign Secretary, I will be telling lots of other people about it at our next Africa Investment Summit. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Foreign Secretary, for laying out what it appears to be the very strong cooperative relations that exist between our 2 countries. And I also wish to, on behalf of the Ministry, congratulate the 3 innovative winners. It is now the time for the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding. And on that note, I would like to invite our friends from the British High Commission so that we will proceed with the signing ceremony. We want to thank you, both the Honourable Minister of Foreign Affairs and of course the UK Foreign Secretary for this very notable achievement. And that concludes the signing ceremony event regarding the MOU. Now it's going to be time for questions, and we will entertain about 3 or 4 questions that will be directed to the UK Foreign Secretary. I will start with Mr. Omar Fofana on my right hand.
Thank you for that question. In the private meeting that we had, I'm sure the Foreign Minister won't be too upset for me to give a small taste of the conversation we had privately before the meeting. I made it very clear that the UK understands the negative real-world impact that Russia's invasion of Ukraine is having on Syrians. Food price increases, fuel price increases are as a direct result of Russia's violence in Ukraine and their use of economic coercion, their restriction of supply routes, and their use of energy provision as a point of leverage. So we know that this war is not only having an impact on the people of Ukraine, it's having an impact on the people of Sierra Leone every single day, and we want to bring it to a conclusion, and we want to bring it to a conclusion quickly. But I think Sierra Leoneans probably understand better than many, many other people in the world that when violence is happening, it has to be resolved. And just as the UK came to the support of Sierra Leoneans during the Civil War to try and bring that to a just and sustainable conclusion, we need to bring this war, this attempted invasion by Russia into Ukraine, to a just and sustainable conclusion. It can't just be an end to the fighting. It needs to be a meaningful end to the aggression, so that Ukraine can live within its borders in peace and security, just as we would wish for any other country in the world. And Russia's attempt to frame their invasion of Ukraine as somehow an act of self-defense is as dishonest as it is transparently perverse. With regard to the Africa Investment Summit, we've already discussed that there have been times in Sierra Leone's history where the UK has come to the aid of a close friend, part of the family. And we do so happily, both through the Civil War, through the Ebola, and we're now doing so with regards to, as I say, support for women and girls. But ultimately, the relationship we want to have with Sierra Leone is one of economic partnership. I know the entrepreneurial spirit that's embedded in the heart of every Sierra Leonean. We want to unlock that opportunity. We want to do so hand in hand with the UK, so that both our countries can prosper economically, so that the Sierra Leoneans that come and live and work in the UK, just as my mother did and other members of my family did, contribute to the UK's economic prosperity, but also that the UK, British business people, British investors help contribute to Sierra Leone's economic benefit. That's the relationship that we want to see for decades and perhaps the next 2 centuries. And that's the kind of mutually beneficial, economically secure, bilateral relationship that we want to see over the next couple of 100 years. And perhaps it starts here today with 2 close friends working closely together on pursuing our mutual economic benefit.
Thank you very much. We'll have another question from the gentleman to my right.
I'm a and I work for Salone newspaper. It's a foreign secretary. Yesterday, you said in hospital where your mother worked as a midwife. How was it feeling like visiting where your mother used to work?
It was quite emotional, actually. It was. I hadn't quite known what to expect. I've been to Sierra Leone a number of times in the past. I've been up country in my childhood, and I hadn't really known what to expect. I mean, firstly, the welcome really caught me by surprise. The fact that so many people had come to the streets to say hello was quite exciting, and that was wonderful. But the thing that really struck me was I walked through the hospital with the medical professionals, with the matrons, with the midwives, and I could see the passion in the work that they were doing. I could see when they spoke about how they had been working to deliver your government's agenda to bring down child mortality, and they talked me through the figures, and they knew the figures, instinctively, and how those child mortality figures had come down, and their plans to bring those mortality figures down even further. And of course, it reminded me of my mother, who she passed away about 12 years ago. And of course, it reminded me of her, and it reminded me of that incredible role in society that medical professionals play, particularly those involved with reproductive health and women and children. It is the most important function in humanity. If we don't reproduce, nothing else matters. And so the work of those women is absolutely at the foundation stone of all future success. And it was incredibly moving. And I was very proud that once again, strong, determined Sierra Leonean women were making a real difference. And that's why it's so important we support them through the Women and Girls. And I was joking about this last night at the reception that we had at the High Commissioner's residence. I can't think of any problem in the world that is made worse by women's intervention. Women never make things worse. They only ever make things better. And if we could find a way of applying women to more of the world's problems, I think we'd solve those problems more quickly and more successfully. So there you go. But yeah, it was amazing.
Thank you very much. We'll have another question from Dr. Blyden. Begin to my right.
Welcome again to Sierra Leone, our brother. And let me extend thanks for what you're doing for the women of Sierra Leone. I am the first woman in Sierra Leone to edit a daily newspaper, and that was started 18 years ago. I'm also the first woman who has broken a lot of glass ceilings in Sierra Leone. That brings me to the question I want to ask. We're here to discuss trade and investment, but a huge chunk of what you have said reverberates in the op-ed that you published yesterday in a lot of British newspapers about the importance of women, elevating women, making sure women are visible. My question, I have two questions today. The first one is, do you recognize that the fight for gender equality can be hijacked by persons who have a sinister agenda? Is that something the British government recognizes? That because we are so sensitive about promoting women, uplifting women. I was a cabinet minister for gender affairs in Sierra Leone in the last government. So I know how important it is to elevate women, and it is something that is so emotional. Are you aware that it can be hijacked by elements who want to hide behind the fight for gender equality and the advancement of women? Secondly, I noticed you referred to the British High Commissioner here as, quote unquote, fantastic. I have a problem with that, Mr. Minister. I have never met her because she's always very busy meeting other people, I can understand. But the British High Commissioner has had a consistent pattern of using the fight for the advancement of women, gender equality, to hinder the fight against corruption, which I also consider to be a very, very serious fight in Sierra Leone. Yesterday, something happened that actually is the reason why I decided I will not send someone to this press conference. I will come here and pose the question to you directly. We have a female outgone mayor of Freetown. She's seeking re-election. She wants to be re-elected. So yesterday she launches a campaign message on social media. And in the consistent pattern of your fantastic British High Commissioner, what does she do? She uses the official British government Twitter account to tweet an endorsement of the campaign message of the mayor of Freetown. What does that send out to us? One, it's a continuation of the British High Commissioner's efforts to promote the mayor of Freetown under the guise of gender equality because she's a woman. And secondly, it has created ripples across Sierra Leone. People are worried. if the British High Commissioner, with all of what we've been seeing her doing, we've been hearing her doing, that are negative towards the fight against corruption under the guise of gender equality, if the British High Commission, in other words, the British government, can click like on a campaign message of a political figure in Sierra Leone, do you agree with me that it is a breach of the Vienna Convention against interference in local political matters? Thank you.
Firstly, I'm not going to edit my description of my High Commissioner as being anything other than fantastic. She is absolutely fantastic. For those of you who don't know her, she had a long and successful career in commerce before coming into public policy, and she is one of a significant number, an increasing number of incredibly high-achieving women in the Foreign and Commonwealth and Development Office. 8 out of the 10 most senior ambassadorial appointments in the British system are currently held by women, including in Washington, including in the United Nations, in Russia, in China, in Ukraine, and a number of other places. So I am not going to edit my description of our High Commissioner as being anything other than fantastic. She is that. All agendas can be hijacked. I mean, that is a statement of fact. But also, what is an incredibly important statement is that we should seek at every opportunity to promote and support greater diversity in the world of business, the world of public policy, the world of politics. I will make a statement on which I feel more strongly about than almost anything else in my role. We do not take sides in other countries' political affairs. The political leaders of a country are exclusively the decision to be made by the people of that country. And that is a universally applicable situation. The earlier question asked me about our relationship with Russia. Observers will note at no point have we called for regime change. The leadership of Russia is exclusively for the Russian people. The leadership, whether it be at municipal or national level here in Sierra Leone, is exclusively for Sierra Leoneans. We have worked well and closely with political leaders of both political parties here in Sierra Leone, and I make this commitment to the people of Sierra Leone, whoever they choose to elect, in what I hope and expect to be free, fair, open and peaceful elections, the UK government and the UK High Commissioner will work with those people. We want to see more women involved in public policy, we want to see more women involved in commerce, in the media, because as I said, I struggle to think of any problem that was made worse through female intervention. Where incumbents have made messages which are in accordance with these long-standing values held by the UK government, we will amplify those messages. And if the incumbents change, but the agenda is maintained, we will amplify the messages of those new individuals in positions of power. So I'll say at the end of this answer what I said at the beginning of this answer. His Majesty's High Commissioner here in Freetown is fantastic. I can let you know she enjoys my 100% support, and her integrity is above reproach.
Sorry, sir, you didn't answer the second question.
I think I did.
Do you think it goes against the Vienna Convention?
No. Because she hasn't taken a political position. What she's taken is amplified a long-standing position of the UK government with regard to empowering women and girls. As I say, my position on this is absolutely clear. His Majesty's High Commissioner here in Sierra Leone has acted absolutely with professionalism and integrity and completely within the confines of the Vienna Convention.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll have just one more question, and I'd like to give the floor to the Minister of Basic and Senior Secondary Education.
Thank you very much and welcome again to Sierra Leone. You mentioned about investing in women and girls being the best tool. We certainly agree that it might be perhaps the golden bullet for solving our development problems, particularly when you focus on rural, poor, the illiterate, those who marginalize women. And so we have been investing in these social infrastructure spending. And the question is, how do you think investments in social infrastructure, energy, health, education, how does that tie in with the new agreements that we're signing on trade and investment? And related to that, perhaps, you have been to the field, and we can sit around the table and speak a lot about policy, these social infrastructure policies. Do you have any experiences from the field that you can relate back to us sitting around there about what you think works or what we can do more of and amplify to really drive impact? Because when you see it, it's different from when we, the policy makers, are on the ground. So it would be great to hear from you on that. Thank you.
Thank you. You make a very, very good point. It is very easy for policymakers, for academics, for politicians to do a lot of serious thinking and analysis, and we write policy papers, and we have debates, and we have votes. And these things are an important part of the process. But ultimately, if that thinking and that work doesn't have a positive impact to the people whose lives we are here to support, then frankly it's wasted effort. I'm very, very pleased to see that the work that we've been doing in the UK government and the work that's happened in Sierra Leone and with the Sierra Leone government is having an impact on the ground. When I spoke to those, actually I was about to say, when I spoke to the girls at the Islamic Cool Secondary School, the reason I paused, because it wasn't just about the girls, it was also very much about the boys. Because if the girls at that school were passionate about women's empowerment, and if they were passionate about being protected from inappropriate behaviour and violence and sexual violence, but the boys weren't, then I would feel perhaps that there was still a huge amount of work to do. But it was clear the boys understood that women's empowerment was just as much their agenda as it is women's agenda. I gave an interview on British Radio 4, BBC Radio 4, on Women's Hour, which is one of the most listened to programmes in British radio. And I said, I recognise the irony of a man talking about a women and girls strategy on the Women's Hour radio programme. But the thing is that this is an issue about women, but this is not just an issue for women, it's an issue for all of us. And we all have a role to play, and that is true in government and policy and academia and service delivery, but also very much the people who are making it work, the teachers, the students, those health professionals, the young mothers, women and girls in households right across this country and mine. We all have a role to play in it. We all have a role in making improvements. And the point I would finish with is if there are any men, whether in this room or watching this broadcast, who think that somehow they're going to lose out if women get more power, this is not a zero-sum game. It's not about the transfer of power from men to women. It's about generating more power, more opportunity, more economic activity. When women prosper, men also prosper. Women do not prosper at the expense of men, they do so hand in hand with men. Successful women create environments where men can also succeed. And so if there's any man, as I say, watching, listening, who thinks that it's in their interest to hold this agenda back, they are fools, because it is in their interest to push this agenda forward. And that's why I describe myself as a feminist. I'm as passionate about this, because it's in my interest. You know, there's a degree of informed self-interest in this. We should all recognise that this is an agenda that benefits absolutely everyone, everywhere in the world. Male, female, adult, child. It is such an important agenda, and it absolutely goes hand in hand with economic improvement. Again, women entrepreneurs so often are the catalyst to bring real prosperity, particularly in rural parts of the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Foreign Secretary. And that brings us to the end of this event, but also the Q&A session. And I also want to extend our deepest appreciation to all of you for coming. But before we do leave, I am delighted to announce that the UK Foreign Secretary is honored to have a photo opportunity with our winners. So on that note, I would kindly like to invite our 3 innovative winners to join the UK Foreign Minister and the Minister of Foreign Affairs for a photo op. Once again, thank you all for coming.
Well, Fambulem, good morning. I just want to let the people of this country understand the session open this morning na the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. Well, this morning, now for sign the MOU and call a Memorandum of Understanding on trade and investment between Salone and the United Kingdom. Well, the person winner, the UK Foreign Secretary, now we on border, and then James Cleverly, Nayasu the Bonham, Mamana Sierra Leonean, Nayasu the Bonham, Mamana being a nurse, and so he goes school in Abo, and one of the Muslim school he attends Nabo. So when he can visit Sierra Leone on this trade investments forum in this country, he just want for let people that know say in a Sierra Leone born, and of course na Mama Bonham, na a go school. So when he come, he go Bo and give him a rousing welcome, visit him, and so this memorandum of understanding, now for we they get trade, because we got business. When I see they announce 3 people we put on business na this country. So in fact, the business what they do very important. So I got the Minister of Information and Communications, Mr. Mohamed Radu Soare. Well, we just want to let people understand this. Good morning, Mr. Minister.
Yes, good morning, Chief.
The people of this country go on know the importance of the visit of the UK Foreign Secretary.
So this visit is important and significant in many, many ways. We're already aware of the context. The British Foreign Secretary, Mamana Sierra Leonean, working at Bo Government Hospital as a midwife for several years before he goes seek opportunities in the UK. So basically, for him, this one also helped rekindle in familial ties with Sierra Leone as a son of the soil. We, the British one and British Foreign Secretary, you see, it's stressed that one day. It's I'm Sierra Leonean, but the British Foreign Secretary, that one is very important for stand out. So they help for strengthening the bonds between the two countries. Apart from that one day, yesterday he launched the Women and Gas Strategy. Already, Sierra Leone don't do a lot in terms of promoting women and ensuring girls' empowerment. So then launching that UK strategy, obviously, because it ties in with what in Sierra Leone they already do, right? Under our free quality education, we make sure say every Peking, including all girls, they get opportunities for go school. The one name where they do science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and agriculture, they even get opportunity for get university education free, right? Then more recently, the government don't enact the gender empowerment and equality law, where they give 30% of women then an opportunity at elective and appointed positions, where they also grant the access without too much encumbrances to finance, to capital for those small, medium businesses, and also the land rights be belong to women. And so there are many things this government don't do in space. Now what to make it more interesting, now when it talks, when it go on the ground, the impression what it gets, ordinary women, right? The woman in the hospital, for example, say Mama been a woman. It's an incredibly great work, the commitment, the passion, the emotional involvement with the neighbor for make sure say they're safe picking. Of course, it talk about the investments where the UK don't do and the government of Sierra Leone for put infant mortality figures and down. Maternal mortality figures, for example, don't come down about 74% as of this year, right? Now, for over 20 years, Salone been there among the most depressing of figures there. We don't reduce down by 74%, and today, now about 443 what would they get out of 100,000 life births women. So this one really they below the sub-Saharan figure. We're now 553. Sierra Leone don't do very well, incredibly well. I see on social media. Last time I visited that hospital, I see oxygen plants and they where they directly, linked to Peking where they're born in difficult circumstances. So the UK Foreign Secretary, it mentioned the investment of government is doing this. And this is definitely something we must be proud of as Sierra Leoneans. When you left around the first, you go to the school. That school where you go, Islamic Course Secondary School. You see the interaction between you and the Peking. It really shows that the free quality education don't take root. It's having impact. I feel very proud of them Peking yesterday where they answer them questions and they, and talk about boys supporting a girl strategy. Right, so this is all the strategy where the Ministry of Social Welfare been on develop the campaign for hands of our girls against violence against women, with Madam First Lady officer make. So everything is tying up. You see man and they lead the campaign. He for she men champions even in school. So I think that this visit is very important. Of course, the non-can sign the MOU on trade and investment, and Sierra Leone is special place in the heart of the UK. Next year, they invite 24 African countries. Africa got about 54 countries, right? Now 24 African countries, then they invite next year, including Sierra Leone, for go get this opportunity. And I don't talk, say, in addition to what they already happened, Sierra Leone, they get privileged opportunities. Who could not have asked for more? I think this visit is so important. It's so important in many, many ways.
Thank you, Mr. Minister.
Thank you.
Well, formally, we'll get the Minister of Trade. Of course, they talk about investments in Sierra Leone. We'll get we great Minister of Trade. We don't make sure say at least we get investors that come to this country. So good morning, Mr. Minister.
Good morning, sir.
How you feel about this memorandum of understanding, especially when we talk about trade and investment?
Well, but good thing the way we get from waiting we don't do today. Firstly, for make you see the British government come and do a memorandum of understanding with Salone, they indicate say we don't do boku thing, we don't able to improve the doing business environment of the country. And our belief say the British business people themselves where they under, they look at them say yes, the opportunity for more do trade with Africa. I think say Salone will be one of the areas that we'll focus. The long-standing relationship we don't get with them. Now another thing where they add up to this. And part of the dimension where this whole MOU they try to look at, now which we will do for women them, we want to do business. Not only that, then they try to support them, but then also they try to see how then we will give them the capacity we will make them able can do business. But putting the way they inside this wire, where you see the foreign secretary has been alluded to, one, they not only want to see how Salone products and we will go na UK market duty free, they want try to see how they will make it much more easier. So that with small businesses within there, mostly when our woman then gets them, we're able to trade with Britain. And our belief say this going to create a lot of opportunity for the woman them where they dry them fish, the woman them where they make palm for go sell na UK, the woman them we can do so many other things. Even the cocoa value chain, what they look at, where value addition for camper. We they see say the products them all will get for the produce in this country, we're able to find them way in the British market. But above all, if you see the foreign secretary come, and one of the key things them when decide for doing for sign an MOU with the government of Sierra Leone on trade and investment, and when you look at the number of people them way they don't already begin support, now indications say one, they not only want for stay aloof. They want to see how then we can support. We own businesses where they do well. We hold the bigger prospect. But good thing the way they inside this wire. Recycling, now one of the major things that we see them don't support some businesses now. For make them get trust in them business there, support them through grants and technical assistance. They tell you say, after all the assessment and say yes, them business and they get the potential for able to impact the economy in this country. So I believe say Sierra Leone get for benefit a lot, Sierra Leoneans get for benefit a lot. And what you don't see now a clear endorsement. Say what you don't they do over the years in the midst of all the challenges. And particularly when you listen to the British the Foreign Secretary, when the state say he understands say the issues where they around the the Russian invasion of Ukraine gets on the impact prices of certain commodities and don't clearly indicate them. We said that just a try and the efforts we government don't they make, not clear indication how prepared this government is. For more make sure say while all them global shocks they happen, we try to say which steps they will take for lessen the impact or the effect of them global shocks then they on Salone people then. I think so far we can proudly say we don't do well. We don't encourage more countries and for show interest in waiting to happen at this country. And the only beneficiary for them kind of there, not the ordinary Salone people there.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you.
Well, Lieutenant Minister of Trade, of course, the talk, we got one of the people, of course, in the competition, they're able to succeed, for produce, for add value. Well, of course, then people also then it takes some kind of waste material, for produce a kind of products where the your name, sir?
My name is Mohamed Jallo.
Mohamed Jallo. There's Salone born?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Freetown, Lumley,
Yes.
James Good.
All right. Now, UK secretary, of course, so proud of you as one of the winners, of course, for support in trade. Tell me how you come about that.
Well, as a young Sierra Leonean and growing up and raised by a single mother and all the challenges then in life, one of the passion where I always get now for how for create job for young people and especially women, because I remember the story of my mama and how we struggle for raise and pay school fee for we and make sure so we go to university, and I'm always passionate about giving women that opportunity. So whilst I'm in the pursue me PhD in the United States through a scholarship given by the U.S. government, I always wanted to come back home upon completion and come do something at this country. So I actually not able to complete my PhD because the passion was so great in me that I get to quit school and come back and start this business called Absolute Barkey. And we do manufacturing, light manufacturing, and we produce sanitary paper product them like Zara tissue, where don't become so popular now, Zara toilet roll, we do Gigi napkins, and with the brand for some of the popular restaurants, them including Basha, Crown Bakery, Pearl, and Roy restaurant, them we do branding for them on napkins. And we also produce construction wire nail, which is very good product with high quality. Being a civil engineer, also involved in construction, I always want to foresee how we can tap into that industry too. So the passion about what we do is not only about doing business, making money, but the most important thing for we about the impact to create jobs, either directly by the people the way we employing at the factory, or indirectly by the young bobo where they sell the tissue in the street and they make a living out of it.
So satisfactory.
Sussex.
What are the use, for produce them tissue?
Well, currently they import semi-finished paper where we can now convert into tissue. But with this grant, we can do now, we can establish the first paper mill in Sierra Leone and the Mano River Union. We hope we will succeed in that. And we now therefore able to collect all the waste paper them around and convert them into them finished product here. So Sierra Leone we can see the first way of how paper is made.
So how do you feel when the foreign secretary, pronounce you as a winner at Sierra Leone, for that matter?
Well, for me, life has always been about opportunities and looking for chance for make my life go before, and being opportune, and I've been always trying to look for opportunities. I'm not just sitting back there, they cry, say government not do this, government not do that, and opportunity not come away. Me believe in going out for fair opportunity. So when this opportunity came, it was about competition. We get to write a good proposal and convince them that waiting we do actually meaningful, not only to we and to waiting at the on agenda. So I'm happy that the CC we too want for do they in line with the agenda, and at the same time in line with waiting at the presidency agenda, the country agenda, and the impact way we get for create, I believe say will be a benefit to we all and the country as a whole.
Okay, lastly, presently almost staff that you get?
Well, currently we have about 67 to when a permanent we can get some we can be just casual in and out. But with this we anticipate say we could increase up to maybe 500 indirect and direct employment.
So much money?
About 25% of we staff now women, including the manager, the general manager now, where they run the factory actually in my own wife, and they try to train them and teach them and make sure say like within the foreign secretary talk about putting women in the right position, and myself believe in that say wherever women then they always do the right thing.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you. Well, of course, Famulem, so we go wrap up, and I hear from one of the winners. We win, of course, a grant from UK. We, of course, and therefore continue to produce more product in Sierra Leone. We will create more employment to especially women. Thank you. Of course, the broadcast live from the Foreign Affairs Ministry, and this is the SLBC. Always tune in, and una go always get the news zone that they look for. On behalf of my colleagues, we get the NASU, we get Vivian, of course, the ASU with we, and David and cameraman Alexis C, technical man. Thanks to colleagues, New Englandville, Leicester Peak, in that atmosphere. Good morning and bye-bye.